Hello, in this video I will do an SAT practice exercise on lines, angles, and triangles, and these are considered easy problems. So let's begin. So question one says, in the given figure, line segment AB is parallel to line segment CD, and the measure of angle B is 55 degrees. What is the measure of angle D? So they're saying that line segment AB, locate where line segment AB is right here, and then you could put this little symbol to represent parallel. Is parallel to line segment CD, locate where CD is. CD is right here. And uh, fill in what you have. So angle B is 55, so you could put 55 here. And what is the measure of angle D? So we've got to figure out this angle. So did you know just looking at this picture? So if you extend these two parallel, extend these lines, these parallel lines, and then if you extend this line, this would be like a transversal. Um, Did you know that these two lines here is congruent with this one? Why is that? They're on the opposite side of the transversal, so it's like it's either alternate interior or alternate exterior. Um, yeah. So if you figure out what this angle is, that would be this angle. That's all you have to do because of alternate, I believe it's alternate interior. Okay. So these two angles are congruent because of alternate interior. So how do we find this missing angle? Well, they give you this angle here is 95, and I believe this angle here is also going to be 95. Why? Because they are vertical angles. And they tell us that angle B is 55. And you have a little small triangle here. So what is the sum of a triangle? So it's 180. So to find this missing angle, all you got to do is do 180 minus 95 minus 55. Okay. And you get 30. So this is going to be 30 degrees. So yeah, this is going to be 30 degrees. Okay, that wasn't too bad. You kind of just need to know your um angle rules. Okay, let's move on to question two. Question two says an isosceles triangle has an angle that measures 124 degrees. What is the measure of one of the other angles of the triangle? So if you want to draw an isosceles triangle, that's perfectly fine. It could be drawn like this. And in a isosceles triangle, two sides are congruent. So maybe we'll make these two lines congruent. And then you have an angle of 124. Where do I put that 124? Do I put it here? Do I put it here? Or do I put it here? I put it right here because 124 is the obtuse and that would be the bigger angle, right? These other two angles are acute. And did you know that these two other angles, we'll call this x, is congruent to this angle because you see these sides, this side is related to this angle, and then this side is related to this angle. Notice that these two line segments are congruent. That means that these two angles are congruent. So let's go ahead and find x. So to find x, we know that the sum of a triangle adds up to 180, right? So you can say x plus 124 equals 180. So what's 1x plus 1x? 2x plus 124 equals 180. Solve for x, so I'm going to subtract 124, subtract 124. Okay, so 180 minus 124 is 56. Solve for x, you're going to divide this by 2, divide this by 2, and you get 56 divided by 2 is 28. Okay, so the angle here is 28, and then this angle here is 28. So they just want 1. So it's going to be letter A. Okay, well, let's move on to question 3. So question 3, as you can see, we have two, let's see, it says line X is parallel to line Y. If angle 1 is 49, what is angle 2? So here's line X and here's line Y. They're parallel. So it's good that they tell us. We can't assume it's parallel, right? And what else they tell us? That angle 1 is 49 degrees. And what is angle 2? Angle 1 is 49 degrees. So we got to figure out what angle 2 is. Now, do you think that angle 1 and angle 2 are congruent? Yes or no? No, they are not. Um, Locate, okay, so this would be like the transversal. Now, if angle 1 was right here, then they would be congruent because of alternate interior. Um, if angle 2, yeah, these angles are not congruent. So we have to use what we know. Um, did you know angle 1, this angle here, 49 degrees, is the same angle here because they're vertical angles, right? And then what is the relationship between angle 2, this angle, and 49? Are they congruent or not? They are not. They are what's called supplementary. So what that means is they add up to 180 degrees. So we can find angle 2 now. To find angle 2, it's just going to be 49 plus angle 2 is equal to 180. Then you just subtract 49 from both sides. So angle 2 is 180 minus 49 is 131. Okay. So angle question 3 is 131. Okay. Question 4. Um, if line segment AB is parallel to line segment CE, and if angle ABC is 35, what is the angle of BCE? So like BCE, so this angle right here. Um, yeah, so what do we know? They tell us angle ABC is 35. So this angle here, this is ABC. Hmm, what can we say? Um, is it going to be 35? What do you think? It is. I think it is going to be 35 because they're saying that line segment AB is parallel to line segment CE. Now, if you extend this line, right, these would be parallel. And then if you extend this line, this would be your transversal. So look at where this angle, 35 and this angle. They're on the opposite side of the interior of the transversal of two parallel lines, so that they are congruent because of alternate interior. Okay, so let me repeat that again. Um, they are on the interior of the opposite side of the transversal of these two parallel lines. That makes these two angles congruent. So angle C is going to be 35 as well. Okay. Let's move on to question 5. Figure is not drawn to scale, but it says in the figure above, line K is parallel to line J. Okay, so these two lines, I could put that little symbol. So you can't assume they got to tell you it's parallel. And then what is the measure of angle Z? So yeah, what is these? And this could be angle M would be your transversal. I mean, line M would be your transversal. So what do you think? Do you think angle 112 is the same thing as angle Z? Yes or no? No, I don't think so. Wait, I think they are. What would be the reason? The reason would be, I think that's because of corresponding angles, right? So I do believe that this angle here is congruent to this angle because they are corresponding angles. But what if you didn't know that? What if you forgot the rule? So just use what you know. I know that 112 is also this angle here, 112, right? Because of vertical angles. And then I could figure out what this angle is, right? How? By doing 180 minus 112 because it's a supplementary, meaning it forms a straight line, right? So 180 minus 112 is 68. Okay. Now, what's the relationship between angle 68 and Z? They're not congruent, but they are what's called supplementary. So um, it's basically to find angle Z, all you got to do is do 180 minus 68 degrees, just 112. Okay. So yeah, that's it. Well, I mean, there's another part. Just we can check our answer. Maybe we should check our answer. So let's end score and end score. Yep. Yep. It looks like we're all good. So there's another part of this. So let me just do that real quick. Uh, oh, hold on. Okay, let's do this one. Okay. So let me read this problem. So this one says we're still on lines, angles, and triangles. It's just that there's another set of problems. So triangle DEF is an isosceles triangle such that the length of DE is equal to length of EF. If the measure of angle F is 34 degrees, which of the following is the measure of angle E? So triangle DEF is an isosceles triangle such that is an isosceles. Okay, so let's draw a triangle. So right, let's draw an isosceles triangle on triangle DEF. Such that the length of DE is equal to the length of EF. DE, Yeah. So they're saying that this line segment DE is equal to EF. The measure of F is 34 degrees. Or actually, let me draw my triangle again. One second. Yeah, let me draw it like this. You can also draw it like this. I mean, label it as D. You can label like this, DEF. Or the other way is fine. You won't get the wrong answer. So if angle F is 34 degrees, and then DE, line segment DE is equal to EF, this one, which of the following is the measure of E? So yeah, now look at our line segments. You see this line, that means they're congruent. So that means this line segment is related to this angle, and then this line segment is related to this angle. So that means they're the same. So angle D should also be 34 degrees. So how do you find angle E? Simple. We know that the sum of a triangle adds up to 180. So you just do 180 minus 34 minus 34, and you get 112. Okay. Letter D. Good. Next question. Okay. Question two says, in the figure above, what is the measure of angle ACD in degrees? So locate where ACD is. Here's A, here's C, here's D. Okay. So basically this angle here. So there's two ways you could figure this out. Did you know that if you add up this angle plus this angle, it equals to this angle? So if you know that rule, that's fine. So 84 plus 37 is 121. Okay. So angle C is 121. But what if you didn't know that? There's another way you could figure this out. You could figure out what angle C is, this angle is, by how do you find that angle? Well, we know sum of a triangle adds up to 180, so it's going to be 180 minus 84 minus 37. And that gives you 59. So this is going to be 59 degrees. Now you can figure out this angle because we know that this is a straight line. And what do we know straight lines are? Supplementary, meaning they add up to 180. So you could do 180 minus 59, and that gives you 121 degrees. Okay, letter D. Okay, next question. In the figure above, lines F and G are parallel. Which of the following is the value of X? So line F and G are parallel. We got to figure out what yes. So it looks like line E is the transversal, this line. And do you think angle X and 98 are congruent? Yes or no? I think they are. I think they are congruent. No, they're not. Look at it carefully. They're not actually. Oh, so here's the transversal line E. It would be congruent. This angle here would be congruent with this angle, right? Because of alternate interiors. So they're not congruent. But what else do we know? We know that this angle here is also 98 degrees because of their vertical. And then what's the relationship between this angle X and 98? Are they congruent or not? No, they're not. They're supplementary. So to find angle X, it's basically 180 minus 98, which is 82. Okay. So yeah, angle X and 98 are not congruent. So yeah, so it's 82. Question four, triangles DEF and M and O. Triangles DEF and M and O are congruent triangles where D, E, and F corresponds to M and O respectively. The measure of angle D is 32 and the measure of E is 105. What is the measure of angle O in degrees? So if you want to draw your image, that's perfectly fine. Triangle DEF. So you can draw it like this. Here's D, here's E, here's F. And then they're congruent, so they're the same. And then triangles M, N, O. Okay. Where angle D and E and F corresponds to M and O. Okay, so that means that angle D is congruent to angle M. So I put one mark, and then angle E. That doesn't mean their angles are all the same, right? There may be different angles, but I'm going to put two tick marks on E. Angle E is congruent to angle N, so I'm going to put two tick marks. And then angle F is congruent to angle O, so put three tick marks for F and O. Okay. And then the measure of angle D is 32 degrees. And then the measure of angle E is 105. What is the measure of angle O? So angle O is congruent to angle F, right? You see these three tick marks, that means they're congruent. So we got to figure out if we know what angle F is, we know what angle O is. So how do we do that? So if you look at this triangle here, we know that sum adds up to 180. So you could do 180 minus 105 minus 32, and that gives you 43 degrees. Okay. So that means angle O is 43 degrees, just like that. Okay, let's move on to question five. An isosceles trapezoid has one angle that measures 42 degrees. What is the measure of one obtuse angle of an isosceles trapezoid in degrees? So this one you kind of need to know what an isosceles trapezoid looks like and what are the relationship of the angles of an isosceles trapezoid. So what does an isosceles trapezoid looks like? Would look like something like this. These two sides are parallel, and these two sides parallel, and then you have these two legs that are congruent. Now, what do we know about angles of an isosceles trapezoid? We know that th this angle is congruent with this angle, and then this angle is congruent with this angle. So did you know if you had let's call this angle one and then this angle two? Angle one and angle two are not congruent, but they are supplementary, so they add up to 180. And it says that one of the angles measured 42 degrees. So this would be 42. How do I know this is 42? Because this is acute, this is going to be obtuse. So yeah, the obtuse angles are congruent and then the acute angles are congruent. So how do we figure out what angle one is? All you got to do is do 180 minus 42, which is 138. Okay, so we found it, which is 138. Okay, let me and then score. Let's see what we get. I think, yeah, and score. Yep, we're all good. Okay, I'm gonna stop here. This is a perfect time to stop, so yeah, I'll stop right here.